Guys, what is going on? It is your favorite Northern Virginia, DC area realtor, Chris Colgan here. And I gotta tell you, someone who has lived in Northern Virginia their whole life, I know pretty much anything and everything. So I came up with a list of the top 5 things everybody should know before moving here to Northern Virginia. So let's get right into the video. Number 1 is gonna be housing options. There are plenty of housing options here in Northern Virginia, whether you're looking to do an apartment or a condo, but mainly on the condo front, we usually have a lot of only 3-story condo buildings, and there are some high-rise condo buildings when you get over into Reston, Arlington, or Alexandria. Reason being is usually when you get above more than 3 stories, then in Virginia you have to have an elevator. But we also have plenty of townhouse options, and some of these townhomes can be bigger than single families. And if you're thinking about buying a place to maybe resell in the future, I would definitely consider a townhouse. Townhouses in Northern Virginia have great resales, and they're a lot of times in some awesome neighborhoods. So that is another option. And then we also have plenty of single families, whether you're looking for a Rambler or a 55+ community to a mansion, pretty much any single family option you can think of. I would say though, pretty much within Northern Virginia, the cheapest single families will run around $300,000 to $400,000 and go all the way up into the millions. Now, one thing I will say that's kind of a con in living in Northern Virginia, unless you look outside maybe like a Leesburg, Virginia, Percyville, Virginia, or maybe Nokesville, Virginia, or Haymarket, Virginia, you're not gonna get a place with much land. A lot of people will call me from Kansas or the Midwest and say, hey, I want a house in Fairfax on 10 acres. Unfortunately, around here, it pretty much does just not happen. We just don't have a lot of land here. Everything has been pretty much built up, but there are definitely plenty of housing options. Obviously, I'm a real estate expert, so text me at the number below if you're thinking about buying or selling a house. Let's keep getting into my top 5 things everyone should know about moving to Northern Virginia. Number 2, of course, it can be really expensive living here. We obviously have the high housing prices, especially as you get closer into DC, like Arlington, Alexandria, Fairfax can get super expensive. Also, there are a ton of toll roads or the easy passage, which can get very expensive. I've heard of nightmare stories where people are paying around $40 to use one of the easy passes to go maybe 15 to 20 miles. But keep in mind, that does save you a ton of time on your commute. But driving around here can be expensive, as well as the cost of living. Just everything in general around here is super expensive, whether it be taxes, like I said, tolls, or the housing prices. This is a pretty expensive area to live in for sure, but a lot of the wages are super high around here. I think one of the medium income household here is super up there compared to the rest of the country. So definitely an expensive place to live, and I'm sure in the comments people can chime on that. Number 3, which I'm sure you've heard about everywhere, and I've mentioned many a times on this channel, but the traffic in the DC area can be brutal. It is just a way of life. Now, the one thing I will say is a lot of the work at home from COVID has definitely allowed that to ease up a little bit, but you know what? Most people are going back into the office and the traffic is slowly trickling back up again and getting bad. Now on 66, which goes from DC all the way out towards Front Royal, Virginia, they've added these hot lanes, which has definitely eased that up. But on Route 95, going from Woodbridge to Fredericksburg, all the way into DC to the Beltway, those areas can be absolutely brutal. If there's one accident, expect to be sitting there for an extra 30 minutes to an hour. It is just a way of life around here. And the metro system only goes so far. It goes out to like the Ashburn area and Vienna and Fairfax, but they never really did extend it very far. We do also have the VRE train system, but the traffic here can be brutal. I tell everybody, if you're thinking about moving here, get up one morning and drive the traffic, because I'll have people call me and say, hey Chris, I want to live in an Ashburn, Virginia. I'm going to be commuting into downtown DC and I got to be there at 9 a.m. I usually will tell them that is going to be a hell of a traffic nightmare. So maybe get up one morning around 7 and see if you make it into DC by 9, which you probably won't, but definitely keep that in mind for sure. Don't let it deter you though. Most people allow it and they make it work. Their companies, allow it and it ends up working out for them. So don't let that back you away from buying here, but traffic is definitely a way of life. But you know what? Other parts of the country like Florida, California, Texas, of course, all have it as well. So at the end of the day, I think it's pretty much everywhere in America now. Number 4, yes, number 4 already. There is plenty to do here. You will be surprised. A lot of people think there's not much to do here, but you have Washington, D.C., of course, with all the monuments. So lucky enough that I grew up around here, I got to go to all the monuments in D.C. and pretty much see all the beautiful museums here. And then D.C. area, Northern Virginia in general, have a huge music scene. We have Jiffy Lube Live, to Wolf Trap, to the Capital One Arena, to where the Commanders play over there in Landover, Maryland. There is plenty to do. And then we also have the MGM Casino that has tons of concerts. And the number 1 EDM music place in the world has been ranked several times, called Echo Stage, is actually in DC. So there is a huge music scene here. Country music is really popular, along with hip hop and older rock as well. All the big bands come around. There's also wineries, breweries, pretty much anything and everything you can think of. Like the only thing we don't really have here, which we almost did have, is Disney World when Disney's America almost came up to Haymarket. But there is just so much to do here. Then you're also only a 4 or 5 hour drive up to New York City, 3 hours to Philadelphia, hour or 2 over to Baltimore. There's just so much to do. Then you have Virginia Beach, which is 2 or 3 hours away, or you can go to the Shenandoah Valley and go hiking in Luray. One of the things, when people move away, they end up telling me all the time, you know, one thing I miss about Northern Virginia, there's a lot to do there. Where I moved, the only thing we have is an Outback or Ruby Tuesdays. We have a lot more than that here in Northern Virginia, so definitely keep that in mind. If you're someone who likes to go out and explore, there is definitely a lot for you around here in Northern Virginia. Number 5, probably the reason you're even watching this video, is the job market here is super strong. I've said this plenty of times on this channel. If DC goes down, you know the rest of the country is going down with it, because we are the federal government here in Northern Virginia. Most of the federal government, actually, believe it or not, is based in Northern Virginia or Maryland, not even in DC. So if DC goes down, as you know, all the trillions of dollars the government already owns, the rest of the country is going down with it. So many companies have moved over here into Northern Virginia, like Amazon, Capital One, Booz Allen, Hamilton, you know, anybody you can think of. Boeing just moved their headquarters here. The job market here is phenomenal. A lot of companies even struggle to find workers, and Virginia Tech just opened a huge new campus over in Northern Virginia to help bring on, teach people, get diplomas and all that to help them get new jobs, as we have such a growing job market with technology here. And then we also have a ton of data centers as well, which are bringing in all kinds of different jobs. And we're not really relying on the travel industry or anything like that. It's a lot of government contracting or tech, which is gonna be here no matter what. So the government's not going anywhere, I hope not, at least. But as you know, this is what our area is mainly based about. So if you're watching this video, you probably are thinking about moving to Northern Virginia. So definitely text me at the number below. We can tell you pretty much anything and everything about Virginia, DC, wherever you're thinking about moving. And we would love to be the real estate agent of choice. Me and my team help YouTube viewers all the time. Most of my YouTube viewers that end up buying a house text me at the number below, or they email me info@colganteam.com. I talked to 3 people today already who watch my YouTube channel that want to buy a house here in Northern Virginia. So definitely text me anytime. I hope you enjoyed the video, and please subscribe. I'm trying to get 10,000 subscribers. That's all I ask of you, please. Or buy a house from me. As always, I'll see you at the top or from the top.